So, how does a GoPro actually work? That is the question that I get asked every day, every week, every month from my friends and my family, my readers, my YouTube followers. How does it work? How does that little tiny camera with just a few buttons actually work? So if you've been thinking about getting a GoPro camera and you're just not really sure how they work or whether it would be right for you, I think this overview will be helpful to you just to kind of give you a feel of what it's like to use the GoPro camera. So I'm going to show you how my GoPro camera works. I have a GoPro Hero 3 Plus Black Edition. This camera came out in 2013. I bought it near the end of the year right after the 3 Pluses came out. And I still use it. I love it. I don't have the newest model. I only have one GoPro camera and it has been treating me well, so I haven't seen the need to replace it. So I want to give you like a little bit of an overview of how I use my GoPro camera, the settings that I have it on, and just a little bit of how it works so that you can sort of make the decision for yourself whether you want to have a GoPro camera for your family. Okay, so this is my Hero 3 Plus Black Edition. And basically it has a couple of buttons. This is the power button right here. This is like the shutter button. And there's a Wi-Fi button on the side here. And this is the battery door. And then over here is the panel with the micro SD card, the places to connect it to your computer or to your television. Now, I did have a little panel thing that covers this up to protect this area, but of course I lost it, so I don't have that on there. And then this, of course, is your lens, which you want to try not to touch. Usually my lens is dirty. I have a really bad habit of keeping my lenses kind of smudgy and dirty, so I keep a cloth in my camera bag all the time so that I can clean it because I don't do a very good job. But so anyway, to turn it on, what we're going to do is just press the power button. Okay, so the camera is now on, and I have mine set default to be in the video mode in 1080 30 frames per second when I start it up, because that's most of the time that's what I'm shooting in. So the GoPro comes with 4 main shooting modes. So you have the video mode, and to cycle to a different mode like shooting still photos or burst or time lapse, you just press the power button. Don't press and hold it because that will turn it off, but just press it lightly and it will go. That's burst, this is time lapse, and you can go to your settings from there as well. When it has the little video camera thing, then that means that you're going to be shooting video. So you just cycle through your different modes and it will just choose that mode for you. Obviously, to make something record, you're going to just press your shutter button up here, and it will show you that it's recording by giving you time of how long you've been recording for. So I want to show you a little bit of the settings. So all we have to do is cycle through to the wrench and press that, and it will give you your video settings first. And you can cycle through here. If you want to change your video settings, you can press your shutter button and you can cycle down through that menu and change your resolution, your frames per second, your field of view, and a bunch of things like that. Press exit to get out of that little menu. Now, I keep my camera most of the time, like I said, on 1080 30 frames per second because that's HD quality, but it doesn't choke my computer. I find that if I put it on 2.7K or something like that, then my resolution is way too high for my particular computer to be able to kind of like chug through all of that information, and I don't want to deal with that. And I'm not throwing this up on a movie screen or anything. It's just for personal use, so I keep it on 1080 and I've been really happy with that. So I leave it at 30 frames per second because we don't do a lot of extreme sports or any like fast motion kind of stuff, so I don't usually feel that it's necessary for me to do any slow motion stuff. But if we happen to be doing like slides at the playground or water slides or something where there's something fast going on, then I'll just come in here and change it to 60 frames per second so that I can slow it down to nice slow motion when I'm editing. Now, I usually leave it on 12 megapixels for my still photos. I don't shoot a lot of still photos. Most of the time, if we're outside doing something and my GoPro is out, generally I'm shooting video because that's why I brought my GoPro out. So I don't do a lot of still photos. I do find that if I'm indoors or doing something in low light, the still photos, they really just don't even turn out. It's really not even worth it. You're better off just using an iPhone. So we have some other settings for still photos here. This is where you change the settings of your burst mode. And I don't think I've ever actually used my burst mode before on here. I might have done it coming down water slides before or something like that. I don't use it very often, so I'm not 100% familiar with what I would recommend you setting it on. And time-lapse, I don't really have like a default for that because it really depends on exactly what you're time-lapsing and how long you're shooting for and how long you want your video to be going on for. So time-lapse can get kind of complicated when you're trying to stay within certain parameters. For the most part, I guess with time-lapse, I generally, if I'm not sure what I want it on, I usually have it on 5 frames or one picture every 5 seconds. So you can come into your capture settings, and this is where you can flip the GoPro upside down and have it record your footage so that when you put it in your editing program, your footage isn't upside down. So depending on, like, sometimes I use my suction cup to attach the GoPro to the inside of my windshield, and then the GoPro is actually upside down on the windshield, and then I can just flip the footage in the camera as it's capturing. You can do that in your editing too, but you might as well just do it while you're shooting. It'll save some headache and some time later. There's a bunch of other settings here that I never really use much. I always leave Pro Tune off. You can exit out of here. Now in setup, so this is where you can change what shooting mode you default to when you turn the camera on. So if you shoot a lot of still photos, or if you want to shoot a lot of burst modes or whatever, then you can change that here. I leave mine right on video because that's what I use most of the time. This is where you change whether your LED lights turn on. I like to leave mine off. When this is recording, then this light here will flash red, just like a typical camera will. I like to keep mine off because sometimes I like to capture what my kids are doing kind of candidly, and I don't want to get their attention and have them see that red flashing light and have them start acting totally crazy because now they know they're being recorded. So I try to capture moments with them and not draw attention to the camera. So I keep my LED lights off. Another thing I keep off is the ridiculous noise, the beeping. Every time you press a button, this thing will beep. Let's choose 70%. So I guess having the beeping on makes a lot of sense if you really like drawing attention to yourself, but generally I do not. So I leave mine off. But if you were, say you had your GoPro up on a helmet mount or something where you can't see it and you want to make sure that you actually press the shutter button, then you would want to have that beep on so you would know that you actually pressed the button. I don't have a helmet mount and I don't do anything usually that requires a helmet, so I don't worry about that. Usually I can just look at the camera and I know that it's on and that I pressed the button. So I leave mine off because otherwise it can get kind of annoying. And of course you have some wireless controls. If you have a Hero 3 Plus Black Edition or any of the other GoPros that have Wi-Fi, then you can connect to your Wi-Fi remote, which I have one of those and I never use it because what I do is I connect to my iPhone. And I'm going to show you in my next video how to use the app that goes along with the GoPro. As long as you have Wi-Fi, you can use it. You can use it to change your settings. You can use it to like as a viewfinder so that you know what you're shooting, which is really convenient. And then you can also save videos and photos from the GoPro camera right onto your phone so that you can share it directly to Facebook or Instagram or social media or whatever you want to do there. It's very convenient, and that's going to be in my next video, so you'll have to stay tuned for that. So if you've been thinking about getting a GoPro camera, I hope that answers some of your questions. And I highly, highly recommend a GoPro for a family camera. Chances are the one that you buy will be a newer version of the one that I just showed you, but it's okay. I think they all work pretty much the same, and if anything, it'll work easier and better for you. So if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel yet, I highly suggest that you do that because I put out a ton of content about using GoPro cameras to create awesome home movies. And head on over to vidpromom.com so that you can hop onto my email list. I send out a weekly email with my latest videos, blog posts, tips, tricks, giveaways, whatever else is going on my blog, stuff that you definitely don't want to miss. So head on over to vidpromom.com and I'll see you there. Thank you.